Hello everyone, I hope you can all hear me well. If there's issue with the sound, as usual, let me know in the chat. And thank you for tuning in on the deck. It's the first time we do a live stream this season. Hopefully you're all enjoying season 3 so far. We have a lot of things to talk about. The main thing that we want to talk about today is show you and talk about the upcoming 3.1 update coming hopefully next week. I have two guests with me as usual. You probably know them by now if you watched episodes of the deck in the past. Sorry. First guest with me today, is Ernest. Ernest, how are you doing?
Yay! Okay, hey guys, it's me. It's me again. It's 3.1. Well, we're gonna talk a little bit about 3.1. Hi, Alexi.
Yes,
I'm good.
We'll be playing 3.1, but 3.1 will only hit the servers next week, so it'll be like a preview event kind of thing. And this is what, your fourth time now on the deck?
Third, I think. Third.
Cool. You feeling comfortable?
Yeah.
Alright.
Always comfortable.
Alright, cool. My second guest, you probably guessed who it is by now because he's there pretty much every time, is Samuel Soul. Sam, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing great. It's nice to be here again on the deck. As always, to share some improvements that we are bringing to players with our mid-season patches. So, excited to show off what we will be releasing next week. I think it's the first time that we are actually showing and playing a deck.
Yes. It's the first time that we're showing the future.
Yeah, first time we are showing the future release in a way. So I'm sure it'll be more exciting than previously.
Yeah. So the idea is really to spend a bit of time going through the changes that are coming with 3.1. Sam and Ernest here are going to be playing the game as usual, but with a build that is not yet released. So there might be issues. Hopefully everything goes smoothly, but they'll try to show you as much as possible and as much as they can what's coming with 3.1. And of course, we'll spend time also answering questions from the community. So if you have any question, please leave it on the chat. I'm getting feedback already from the chat that the sound is good. So fingers crossed everything goes well on the technical side this time. We've also been collecting questions from the chat beforehand. So we have a list of questions that we want to go through as well. But yeah, send the questions. And of course, let us know as well how you're feeling about Season 3 so far. We've received a lot of feedback and we're working on a lot of things. But it's always good for us to know how you all feeling about Season 3 in general. So, getting started, I am now looking at Ernest playing the game. What are you doing, Ernest?
I'm in a hostile takeover. I'm trying to make sure that I build my Helm Empire. Yeah, as usual. Gotta get those pieces of it.
Cool. What about you, Sam? Where are you at in the game right now?
For me, I'm also redeeming my Helm leases. Like Alex said, shared earlier, this is a dev build, so we also have dev accounts here. Just trying to get it up to speed so that we can show some of the stuff that we have for 3.12.
Yeah, so for context, both Sam and Ernest are playing on test accounts, right? Like I said before, this is not the live version of the game, so they should not be encountering any other players unless we have other devs playing. So it's not their real account, but obviously we've given them a bit of progress and gold and everything so that they can show you stuff. The first thing we want to talk about coming with 3.1, as some of you might know in the chat, there's a big date coming up on the 19th of September. Sam, do you want to tell us a little bit more about what's happening around the 19th of September outside the game and in the game?
Right. On 19th of September, it will be Talk Like a Pirate Day. So, in fact, there will be there'll be some activities in our own studio to celebrate that. But more for players, what we're offering is that there will be a free gift that you can claim from your mailbox and UB Connect. So that will be available for the entire week once the patch drops from 17th of September all the way until the maintenance on 24th of September. So there are free items and a firework as well. So and plus a bunch of material. So do check it out and claim it during the week. And in addition, for that weekend from Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, for 4 days you will have double infamy as well. So it's a good opportunity to make progress on your smuggler pass, especially at the start of the new season.
Yeah, so it's basically a little event that we're celebrating, like Talk Like a Pirate Day is happening on the 19th. So from the 17th to the 24th, free gifts for everybody through Ubisoft Connect. From the 19th to the 22nd, double infamy in the game, so you get to get more kingpin chests basically in a faster rate, right? So everybody can celebrate that day. And hopefully, like, if any of you is like dressing up for Talk Like a Pirate Day, feel free to send us your pictures and cosplays of yourself dressed as a pirate. It would be cool for us to see it. Okay, now let's get into like the key changes that are coming with 3.1. I think the first one, which is going to be making a lot of people happy, hopefully, is regarding the map. So in 2.2 we made some significant changes to the map. So maybe Sam, you can talk a little bit more about this. What were those changes and what we're doing to improve on those changes? Right.
So in 2.2 what we did was introduce a lot of world event changes. So they're now running on a schedule. What you can see here with 3.1 is that we have reduced the visual space that is required for all of those. So these tend to clutter the map much less now, and we have also added some sort of visual polish and indicator to indicate, you know, whether something is active and also in which direction the countdown is happening. So you can see, like, for this sea monster, it's active and it's ending soon, and then there are some other activities that still have quite a timer on them. In addition, one of the other things that we notice about the map clutter is edge of screen markers. So they are the markers at the bottom of the screen you see here that indicate to you that activity is available outside of where you're looking at. Previously, we displayed all events map markers, but with 3.1 we have now filtered it to the most relevant to you, which are the active and closest ones for each activity. This behavior is a change to make things less cluttered. Yes, and easier for players to locate objectives and activities that are relevant to them. But we know that players also want to be able to see all of the different activities. So it's now available as a setting. You can toggle all or active only, and you can also toggle all or closest only. So if you turn everything to all, it will be the current behavior that you have in season 3 now. And if you toggle to active only and closest only, which will be the default once 3.1 hits, you'll get a much less cluttered map. So just again for comparison, this is what you would normally have, whereby you have all the events at the side of the screen that are being shown. But if you would like a less cluttered view, what you would also be able to do is go to the interface, customize user interface, and turn them to active only or closest only. That should allow players to find what they need.
Yeah, so basically the feedback we got from the community was that it could be a bit overwhelming when you log in, you see all these icons, right? So essentially what we're doing is giving you more options to decide how much information you want to display on the map, so that you can be more comfortable when checking the map, right?
There are a few other changes in relation to the visibility of world events, but I think we'll leave the details to the patch notes itself.
Yes. As a reminder, we're playing update 3.1 that's coming next week. The patch notes will be released on the website probably the day before the update. But obviously, we're trying to show you a little bit about what's coming with this update and what you can look forward to. Another topic, I think for you as well, Sam, is regarding world events visibility. Can you talk a little bit about what's changing when it comes to world events and their visibility?
So in line with there are for newer there are a lot of cities in the world that may not be immediately relevant for you. So for example, if you're a ship rank 4 and just starting out, well, looking at the map and seeing a ship rank 13 activity would not be immediately relevant to you. So events that are too high above your infamy or your ship rank will also be not shown on the map. If players sail past, they can still participate in them, in those activities, but we want to focus the player experience for the earlier players to make sure that the activities that are presented in the map are also relevant to them.
Very cool. So I feel like I don't know where Ernest is now in the game. What are you up to, Ernest? You've had time
Ooh, me? I'm just sailing around the world. I just captured my hostile takeover, so yeah.
Cool.
Taking care of my endgame empire.
Are you ready to answer your first question?
What is my first question?
So another thing that's coming with 3.1, so obviously Season 2, we received a lot of feedback about people saying they didn't have enough warehouse space. We increased warehouse space. We know some people still want more warehouse space, and we're looking into that as well. But we're also doing changes to help people better sort out their items in the warehouse, in the ship loadouts. So can you talk to us a little bit about what's happening with 3.1 and in particular stacking of in ship customization, basically?
Right. Let me show you. In fact, manage ship.
I think people are very happy with this change.
See,
I know the devs on the floor are super happy about this change, and
It's
Ernest
a little
is
thing,
as well.
but it makes a big difference.
I mean, I commended Sam the other day in his team for, doing basically God's work. Look at that. 25 carronades stacking all in one slot. At least the sidebar now is no longer infinitely long. It's all in one place. So you can see, if you have multiple copies of the same item, it will just stack in one spot. It makes inventory management so much simpler. This is for weapons, this is for armor, and this is also for furniture as well.
I think some people are excited about this change in the chat. I know Spammels is here, seems happy, so that's always a good plus for us to have a cool content creator happy about the changes we're making.
I think what
I was
people were...
giggling.
Yeah.
I mean, I was giggling like a little girl when we had this one.
People were, I think what we have noticed were players obtaining a lot of copies of single furniture and also weapons and armors. And this is part of what we are doing for inventory management. I know that there's a request for more warehouse space. Stay tuned for future updates.
Yeah, so because I see that comment in the chat as well, like we are not doing this instead of increasing warehouse space. We are looking at every possibility for us to make warehouse space less of an issue, right? So there are different ways we can go. Increasing warehouse space is like basically the simplest one, but it's got its limits, right? We are always going to run out of space inventory, so we need to also make sure we implement systems and features to help better sorting of items in the warehouse. Cool. Question for you, Sam. The question that was asked for us, I think, on Reddit or on Discord. What's happening with the voice chat? What are we doing to improve the voice chat?
Right, so voice chat remains a priority for us, debugging and making sure that there's stability. So there's still ongoing work for that. We haven't abandoned it efforts, and we'll continue doing it until the voice chat is super stable. But one of the things that we have done at least is we've fixed an issue whereby it was telling players that you would be disconnected from the voice chat when you weren't actually disconnected. So one of the feedback that we have seen as well is that players don't know if the voice chat is currently working or not. So what we have also done in the meantime, while we address all of the core issues behind, is we added a successfully reconnected to the chat service message. So if you see that message, you know that at least you are able to interact with other players as well for that. So it continues to be a priority for us for addressing the text and voice chat issues. So rest assured, we haven't stopped looking into them.
Cool, very cool. And if you have more feedback, I know some people would really like to have a proximity voice chat, for example, and things like that. So if you have more feedback on the voice chat or communication tools in general in the game, what are the tools you'd like us to implement for you to better communicate with other people that you're playing with? Please give us feedback. It's something we are interested in working on, so don't hesitate sharing feedback with us on this. Next question. I don't know who wants to take this one. What's happening with job board rewards in 3.1? Ernest, is that for you?
Ooh. Okay, so there's some context here. I think in when we're looking at season 1 and 2 in general, we received a lot of feedback that there's not enough rewards. We are a little bit stingy with the way we are giving out things. And so one of the big things of season 3 is actually to review all of that in multiple places, not just job boards, but for things like merchant convoys as well. So I believe in 3.1 we are taking a good look at what rewards are there in the job board. Making sure you have your silver, making sure you have a little bit more crafting items so that you can set off your goals, at the beginning of the season. Look, you want to craft this item, you want to craft this ship, you have those options available through choosing more merchant convoys to approach, more world events to approach, and also in the job boards that you take on as well.
Cool. Yep. Awesome. I'm reading, just a side note, I'm reading comments on the chat that some people are able to claim their deck firework from Twitch drops, so I'm happy it's working. I wasn't 100% sure it was going to work, so glad it's working.
Has it been like 15 minutes already? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so if for everybody who's watching for the first time, we have an exclusive The Deck firework that you can claim through Twitch drops if you're watching us on Twitch today. It's the first time we're doing it, but it's probably not going to be the last time. So if you miss it this time, you will get other opportunities to get it. Don't worry too much about it. Unfortunately, I don't think either of you have it in the game right now, so you can't show it off, but it looks really cool. We'll try to share some information about it more in the future so you can see how it looks. And hopefully, if you don't get it this time, you can tune in the next stream and get it. Next question from the community. Next thing that was part of 3.1 is regarding merchant convoy drop rates. Who wants to take that one? What's happening with the merchant convoy drop rates? So drop rates, for context, has been a big topic throughout the entire season 2. We've increased drop rates for like most of the activities, I think from 2.2 and with season 3. We're still looking into improvements on certain drop rates that we can increase or change to make sure that people have a fair chance to obtain the rewards they want. But we are doing something more specifically about merchant convoy in 3.1. Sam, Ernest, who wants to talk about this one?
Ooh.
I think I can take this. So we have increased drop rates, quantity, and added new drops in the merchant convoy rewards. So we found that players weren't necessarily engaging too much with the merchant convoy compared to other activities. So we are giving materials, adding more materials that can be used for ship upgrades such as roselle cloth, wood pitch, lacquer, dry casting sand, and some others. And hopefully that would also help with the ship upgrade loop and the attractiveness of the merchant convoy altogether.
Cool. So increased drop rates basically, which is always I think an appreciated thing.
Yeah, but also like for the items that players really need to upgrade their ships as well. Now there are more options to achieve those.
Yeah, so just to add a bit more context, it is something that we're following up very closely, right? On basically every single item in the game, we're making sure that the drop rates are acceptable, and we are doing adjustments progressively to make sure that people get a fair chance to get the items they're looking for without too much grind behind it. Next item on the list for 3.1, and I know this one has been something that the community has been asking for a long time. Partial POI funding. Who can talk about this? What is happening with this? And yeah.
Hey, let me, while I fight my dragon, try to do this. Hopefully I don't die, eh?
Yes.
Hopefully I don't die. Okay, wait, let me just, sail away from my dragon. Alright, so let's go to the Helm Empire screen. And then let's look at this totally not suspicious Duister East Foundry that we just purchased using our Helm leases on our dev accounts. And if you go inside here, you can see at the very bottom of our list, top up 2 days, 0 hours, 99,733 silver. So previously, if you come to this screen and you try to, interact with this button, and then you're just like, I'm gonna head out for dinner, and I really want to top off my manufactory is ending in the next 20-30 minutes. You couldn't do it. And so this was a widely requested community feature, and we were asking ourselves for the last 2 seasons, so why can't we do it? Well, now the answer is you finally can. You can finally top off your manufactory and go for dinner in peace. That is what we are calling a great feature in 3.1. Sam, how do you feel about this one?
I think it's great. That has been something that players have been complaining, should I stay up for extra 2 hours and lose 2 hours of my sleep just so that I can top up those refund those manufactories to the max again. But now with this, I think people will have finally have a proper sleep schedule.
Yeah.
And be functional the next day.
Preserving families, making sure that everybody goes to bed on time.
Yeah. So hope you guys enjoy the change. There are some other QoL improvements that we are still looking to bring to players for the Helm Empire and Helm management in general. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled in the future updates as well.
I do feel like I need to correct something you said though, Sam. You said that the community's been complaining about this, but as far as I know, the community doesn't complain. They provide very constructive feedback most of the time.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
That's an answer to one of the comments on the chat that people don't believe that they complain. All jokes aside, all feedback is good feedback, even if sometimes it's a bit, criticizing the game is not necessarily a bad thing, right? It helps us address the key issues that we need to address in the game. So even if you feel like you're complaining, just tell us what's bothering you with the game, and we'll do our best to address it as soon as possible.
I feel like as devs, we take all this feedback, all this constructive feedback, very personally and very very harshly, and we really want to deliver something that is great for players. So whenever there's the slightest inconvenience for players, or they have some interesting, cool, constructive feedback, we also want to address those as early as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple more things coming with 3.1 that we want to talk about before we jump into answering questions. The next one is about dynamic dragon sea monsters. Who wants to talk about dynamic dragon sea monsters and what is dynamic dragon sea monsters?
Alright, so one of the things that we have actually incurred as we included all these fast travel alternatives around the map is that players just zip around the map and they don't really have any incentive to explore the world. And so in the previous deck, you guys met Gabriel, he's the world director, and this has hurt him, this has caused him physical pain. And so one of the things that we're actually doing is that we have created something called dynamic world events, dynamic sea monsters. So not every world event that is revealed on the map, not every world event is revealed on the map. Sometimes you might sail around and then you might find a Tylosaurus or two in the wild, and then you will be able to engage these and call for help for them. So these are some of the things that we're starting to explore as to how to reinstill life in the Indian Ocean, to encourage exploration. And there are further plans in seasons ahead I can't share too much now, but this is what we're aiming to reintroduce back into the game, making exploration fun, making exploration meaningful as well. Yeah. So I think one of the things you guys also noticed that in the early half of the game, there's tons of stuff going on. What happened is that we also introduced low-level world events, so that once you hit your medium-sized ships, you can engage some of these big ticket items like the dragon I just encountered, the lower level shadow beast as well.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Ernest, but that is why some players have been sharing screenshots and videos of massive fights. Sometimes they're fighting against the pest and they see a Tylo popping up. I think that's the reason, right? Basically, in some cases, you might end up fighting 2 world events at the same time, or having those 2 world events fight each other even is possible, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so hopefully, I mean, I know for some people it's going to be a bit frustrating because it's going to increase the difficulty of the fight, but the goal is to make the game a bit more dynamic and have a bit more like unexpected moments happen at any given time, right?
Yep. So one of the things, I guess, actually this is an interesting talking point. We had this conversation with, I guess, Mac, right? He was really thinking about how the Indian Ocean is really sanitized at the launch of Season 1. World events happen in isolation. You don't have any of this, what you call cool moments, where the Tylosaurus is attacking La Peste, or La Peste is attacking Tylosaurus, and there's an opportunity in the chaos for you to get free loot or free pieces of aid. And so we weighed 2 options, right? One is the super sanitized Indian Ocean that is clean and fair, and the Indian Ocean that is chaotic and unpredictable. And so we ask ourselves, is it really all or nothing, right? And we realize the answer is actually it's not, right? We get to choose a balance between the two. And so what we did is that we opened up the world a little bit, and we allow world events to spawn on top of each other. We allow dynamic events to spawn near existing world events. So you could see some of this systemic interaction between the world events. Of course, this came at a risk, right? We don't want 2 Megalodon, maybe 4 Megalodons spawning at the same time and causing the server to crash. So these are things that we are constantly monitoring, and we are also monitoring its effect on the play experience. So do share with us your feedback, your thoughts about what you think and how you think this is going. And it's something we will monitor and we'll adjust as we go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally love seeing when people share screenshots and videos, like basically sharing how surprised they were to see those moments happening. So whether it's a good change or not, let us know. I hope people enjoy it. There's probably going to be some balancing done, what needed to be done to make sure it doesn't become too difficult or too challenging for people. But yeah, we're very curious to see how people feel about this in general. One more topic, I think, Ernest, you might be able to talk to us about a little bit. We are doing changes to the repair motor.
Oh, haha.
What change is that?
Okay. I don't have a repair mortar on me right now. This is so upsetting. It's breaking my streak of showing you guys just at the right moment. Alexi asked me this question. Okay. So one of the things that we have just put into 3.1, and you might call it a minor change, but we thought it was a huge change, is that you can now self-heal with your own mortar. So it's a little bit of a funny thing, but you could imagine that right now, if I had the mortar with me, I don't have a mortar, I have a mine launcher with me, I would fire it, and as I sail into the circle of the mortar, it would actually heal me, a little bit like the repair spring loaders. And it's quite funny because in the real world, if you had a repair equipment, you would just drop it right on the floor in front of your ship. You wouldn't even bother, you don't have to fire it on yourself. So it's a little bit of a groundedness question as well, but it makes very little sense. But there are 2 reasons why this is happening. One, as a healer, I want to be able to heal myself. We realize that a lot of healers are unable to heal themselves unless they bring Little Grace, which is the repair spring loader. And so we wanted to create that option for players, for our healers as well. And second, is because it's simply fun, right? We don't really want to... in this particular case, we are prioritizing gameplay over realism or over groundedness as well. Yep. So we're hoping that you guys appreciate it. We're hoping you guys enjoy it a little bit more. And welcome to the world of skill, where you have to fire your repair mortar slightly in front of you to heal yourself.
And Ernest, this comes in preparation for the PvP mode, right?
Ooh, I didn't say any of that. But yes, it's in preparation for the PvP mode.
Yeah, so actually, one point on this is when it comes to these kind of changes and game balancing, when it comes to ships and weapons and equipment in general, do let us know how you feel about your favorite ship, or which ship you feel should be stronger or nerfed or whatever, because it's something that we want to do on a more regular basis to like make sure we address the balance of every ship, every equipment, to make sure that every ship has its potential and every ship has its weakness as well. So it's very important that we hear your feedback. If you feel strongly about certain ships or certain equipment being either overpowered or underpowered, do let us know. We are looking at Taunt, which is a new perk from Season 3. We know some people feel like it's overpowered currently. We're looking into it, and we might do some changes about that in the future. Cool. I think that's basically the key highlights for 3.1. These are not all the changes that are coming. Of course, the full patch notes will be published on Monday. There's a lot of bug fixing. There's a lot of additional changes we're making. But these are the key highlights that we wanted to talk about a little bit today. We also have a lot of questions from the community that we've been collecting since last week.
Maybe just as an additional note for,
yes, go ahead.
For 3.1 as well. Like Alexis said, this isn't the full list of changes that we are delivering for 3.1. In 3.1, a big part of it was also to address a lot of the bugs that have been reported in through the bug reporter, and also a lot of the other things that we spotted as a team following the release of 3.0 as well. So improving the quality and improving the overall responsiveness and stability of the game, and for players to be able to continue their contracts without being blocked or having encounters which would work according to the gameplay designs, is also something that is super important to us when we deliver updates such as these. So there will be a whole list of bug fixes, so those would also be part of the update coming on next Tuesday.
Yeah, very cool. So are we ready to jump into questions?
Oh, only the toughest part of the day. Alright, let's go!
So the first topic is kind of covering a lot of different things. I grouped them up together because it's actually asking a lot of questions about the future of the game. So there's a lot of questions that we collected from the chat about a possible map expansion, about new factions, about what's coming in Season 4, about large ships, etc, etc. So I think you can jump between each other on how you want to cover this, but essentially as a head start, I just want to put a big disclaimer. We just started Season 3, so we're not quite ready yet to share too many details about Season 4 or what's coming after Season 4. The only thing I'm going to say is that Season 4 is essentially going to be a big wrap-up of the entire story that has happened since the launch of the game. So it will answer a lot of questions you have about the overall story, about why are all these things happening in the Indian Ocean, why is there like so many people coming with each season trying to challenge you and challenge the helm and basically take a part of the pie, which is the Indian Ocean, right? So there's a lot of cool things coming with Season 4. We can't go into details, but expect it to be a big wrap-up for the entire year, and also probably more importantly, also a good way for us to kind of tease you about what's coming with Year 2 in Skull and Bones. With that being said, who wants to talk about map expansion?
Oh, map expansion.
Yes. So it's been a topic that's been coming out a lot more and more, like in recent weeks. I think people are kind of like hoping it's going to happen at some point. What can we say?
Okay. Ooh, this is a tricky one. Okay. We have built quite a bit of the upper portion of the map in the past, right? We spent a lot of time exploring what it could mean and what it could be, but I think at this juncture, we are not ready to share more or talk a lot more about it. That is the truth. The reality is that opening up that entire upper portion of the map involves some complexity, both on server, both on population on the server, and I think there's some of the levels there are not fully fleshed out, not fully completed. The story there isn't fully fleshed out, isn't fully completed. And so I think we'll share when there is more plans and details available to share. But right now it's not something that we think will be coming in the medium term or the short term. This is something a little bit further out in the long term.
Yeah, I think to add to this, I mean, it was definitely something that we had planned from the beginning, right? With the map, eventually we want to increase the map. We want to give new regions to explore and new things to do. But we also feel like the game is in a position right now where there's already a lot of things to keep people occupied, obviously, and for us to also improve on and build upon before we start opening up to new territories. Like you said very well, Ernest, there is space there. There are plans for us to use that space. It's just a question of when is a good time for us to do that.
I think concurrently as well, in addition to looking at how we can open up the map, is also looking out for new opportunities for us to host events that are, say, let's just put it in different places as well. So there's a lot of technical and system explorations that are being done so that we can host activities that bring players together. More details will be soon.
Yeah, and I think there's a comment from Pamels on the chat that makes total sense, and it's also very much aligned with the way we're thinking, is that when we do expand the map, we want it to be something significant. It's not just, hey, there's a new region to explore. It's like it needs to come with something that adds something more to the game in terms of game mechanics, in terms of exploration, in terms of progression, etc., etc. So
new loot,
yes,
new stories, new art.
So we do have plans, but those plans are quite ambitious. So when it happens, it will be quite significant. And by the way, we're talking a lot about the north of the map, but as far as we are concerned, we're not necessarily only limited to that part. Of course, you can see that there's a hidden region on the north of the map, and that's obviously an obvious next step. But it doesn't mean that in the future we can't expand that map even further to other regions of the world. So we'll see how we go. Anything we want to share about large ships?
Oh, boy.
Our favorite topic.
Is there a large ship nearby that I can spyglass? Oh no, there isn't a large ship nearby.
There was
I
a
do.
post on Reddit this morning. Somebody sharing the the loading screen with the cool large ship, asking us why we teasing the community like that.
Ooh, yeah. Oh.
So I can answer why we're teasing the community. The answer is that we're not teasing the community. We're just reminding the community that eventually large ships will come to the game.
Eventually, yes. It's at the very top of our priority list. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's somewhere on the priority list, right? The community is very excited about large ships, and so are we. The last time I shared, there are a couple of issues. What if a large ship sits in front of a river? What are we gonna do? We've got some answers in these spaces. We've got some solutions. And the question is, when can we reveal, and when can we reveal more? The answer is not today. But I want to ask everybody to stay tuned to our future season plans.
Yes.
It'll be ready when it comes.
I think if I can clarify what you meant by saying it's not top priority, it's definitely a key topic that we are talking about and looking into and working on quite regularly, right? It's not something we have somewhere on a whiteboard and we ignore until it's time to look into it. We are actively looking into it. So it's definitely planned, it's coming. We're just not ready to tell you yet when it's coming or how it will be coming. But we're quite excited to show you eventually.
Actually, I read I think the last time I was on, we were talking a little bit about it, and we asked the community to share some feedback on what did they think large ships should be. And we have been monitoring your feedback. Some of them we have basically used to influence our decision making in the process. It's not truly completed or ready to share. So stay tuned to when the game director and when the producer decides to share more information about it.
Cool. Ernest, I think there's something you wanted to show us, or at least talk about, is the upcoming Halloween event.
Oh,
without spoiling too much, because I know you want to say everything, but you can't say everything. So tell us how cool it is without telling us everything.
man, that's such a difficult challenge. Let's just say that there will be a community-centric world event. It's the first time we're trying something like that.
It's an interesting way to put it, but yeah.
So the server has to come together to do something for something to happen. Sorry for being really ambiguous here. You can blame Alexi for that.
What I can say is that we did have some internal and insiders testing the Halloween event. I don't want to overhype it, but I feel like they were pretty happy with the event in general. And I think maybe you can tell us on this, but I believe that the Halloween event is introducing some gameplay mechanics that have not been in the game so far.
Is there?
I believe so.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
But that's all we can share.
No, but I think people will like it. I'm quite I look forward to see how people react to it.
Yep.
There's a very broad question. I don't know who wants to answer that one. I can jump in as well if you need help. Basically, the question is, do we have any plans on where we want to go with the game in the future? And I think, okay, so for context, I try to understand where that question is coming from. I think from a player's perspective, we are Season 3, Season 4 is coming soon. They know a little bit about Season 4, but not much. They don't know anything about what's happening after Season 4. So, can one of you tell us, do we have plans for the game beyond Season 4? And, like, are we excited about it? Like, without sharing too much detail.
I think for sure, yes, we already have we already know what we want to work on in the upcoming seasons beyond Season 4, so 5, 6, 7, 8 and beyond that as well. And at the end of the day, it's a matter of when we can deliver all these improvements and new and shiny stuff for players. And so I would say that yes, we know where the game is going in terms of the direction, but we are not ready just yet to share and confirm on some of those details as well. So I believe usually we have like Mac and Nevin, the game director and senior producer on this project, share more about the release of each season. So those will be the times whereby we can get a better, where we can share a little bit more on what's coming up for the future of the game as well.
But yeah, I can totally confirm that there's a lot of super exciting things coming for year 2, and we can't wait to share about it.
And yeah, just to chime in on that as well, we are already working on things beyond Season 4. So lots of the things that we've discussed today are also work in progress already.
Yeah. And I know we say that a lot, but it's something that we really mean. Like, we regularly with the community team create threads on Reddit, on Discord, and on social media, asking us like, how do you feel about this season, but also what are the things you'd like us to add to the game in the future. The reason we ask these regularly is because obviously with each season we add new features, we improve things, but we also want to plan things for the long-term future that are answering to what the community wants this game to become. It's very important for us to know what the community really wants to see in the game in the future, because that's where we get ideas from. I mean, of course we have our own ideas, our own plans, but sometimes we use the community feedback to adjust those plans and make sure that further down the line, that thing you've asked maybe 6 months ago, there it is, it's in the game now. So if you have more ideas, if you get more things you want to do, obviously we talked about large ships, we talked about map expansion. I'm sure there's a lot of things you guys and girls would like to see in the game, so don't hesitate to tell us what you want to see in the game in the future. There was another question about cosmetics, so this one is quite specific. Somebody said that they are quite disappointed by how the outfit basically for female players look in terms of cosmetic, and is asking if there's any plan for us to change that in the future. I don't know if you know what I'm talking
so
about.
there are plans to change that into the future. I think we put out a survey somewhere in Season 2, whether players preferred more fantastical visuals or more realistic visuals. And we have taken that into account and I think as a note, we are also developing many months, many seasons ahead in terms of schedule, so we can't exactly make changes too quickly on that front. But that feedback has already been taken into account, and we are looking into delivering more of what the player community wants on that part.
Cool, thank you. The next question is a question I quite like, because I read it yesterday and I clarified with our game director that I wasn't thinking nonsense, but it's something we can talk about without exactly saying what it's going to be. So Ernest, I'm going to dump it on you as well. So I know you like tricky questions where
Oh man!
you can't really say, but you have to say it anyways. So let's test your PR skills.
Okay.
So in each pirate den, in St. Anne and Telok Penjara, there are areas which are currently unused and look like they could potentially be used for something in the future. I'm talking about a specific area in St. Anne called the Rendezvous, and another area in Telok Penjara called the Hond.
Uh-huh.
Now, I know what they're going to be used for because I played it just on Monday. Do you know what they're going to be used for?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Do you know, Sam?
It's the most PR answer. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so I can't say what they're going to be used for. What I can say is yes, they are going to be used for something very specific that's coming in the game in the midterm, I want to say. But essentially, yes, you see some locations in the dens, and usually they look like, okay, there should be an NPC there, that there should be like something for me to do as a player. I'm not going to say what it is, but eventually, yes, there will be a purpose for both of these locations, and that's happening, relatively soon. Linked to that question, there was also a kind of question about like, basically the question was like, are we going to use those areas to allow players to hire or customize first mate or personalized crew and things like that? Is that something you're aware of in terms of community feedback? And can you tell us if we're doing anything or planning to do anything about the crew in general?
Wouldn't have built that spot if we didn't have anything to... if we didn't have any plans that we wanted to expand into. I'll say that we have intentions to make crew attack, crew ability a little bit more interesting, a little bit more dynamic as we go forward in the game. When that would happen, not sure. Will that include the space in the den that you were just talking about? I have no idea.
Well, I can tell you no. That's not what I had in mind. No, so I know two things. I know these two specific spots are going to be used for something very specific coming very soon, and I know that a bit further down the line we also have plans to improve the way the crew works in the game. So there are two different things, but yes is the answer to both questions. Sorry, we can't say much. It's like I said at the beginning of the stream, we are very much like. Well, first of all, we're at the beginning of Season 3, so there's still a lot of things in Season 3 that we want to tackle and improve on. Season 4 is going to happen soon as well, and there's a lot of cool things that we can't talk about just yet, but we're very excited to introduce. And then there's the whole plan for Year 2 that we will reveal closer to when Year 2 happens, right? So a lot of the things are based on the feedback, so a lot of the questions that I've seen and I've collected are things that we are actively looking into and planning. We can't reveal yet exactly when it's going to happen, but yeah, there are a lot of things that we're doing.
I think one thing to take note is that for a lot of these big things that players are asking for, those are things that we want to deliver as well, and we want to deliver it in a state that is a good quality and not just we try and rush it out and it doesn't really fulfill that need. So we are intentionally taking the time to sit down, plan, design, and also make this a reality. This would also include developing the tech for it, also developing the systems, implementing it, and testing it across various platforms like insider programs and internal tests as well. So these things do take a bit of time to get out to players, but we remain committed to delivering them, and we want to make sure that they come out in a good quality. So sometimes we want them to come out a bit faster as well, but we are doing what we can to answer those player needs as well.
Cool. Next question. By the way, if you have questions on the chat that you really want to know, I'm trying to follow up, but I don't see that many questions so far. But please, yeah, ask questions in the chat as well. I'm keeping an eye on the chat so I can try to pick them up. Can answer. There's a question about world exploration, and this one's quite specific as well. The question was, is there any chance we may at some point get the ability to explore the vast landscape? And I think what this means is that some players have noticed that in Outpost, or sometimes even like as they sail past certain land areas, they notice some areas that look like they have been a bit more developed than others. And players are just wondering like if there's any plans in the future that will allow players to go on land more in those areas or explore more of the land areas. Asking a lot of tricky questions today, I'm sorry.
For me, I guess the easy one would be no comment.
There are, I mean, the Indian Ocean is a vast space. It's filled with a lot of like mystery and a lot of stories. We would like to expand on some of these topics in the future. Right now, maybe too early to share.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we were saying at the beginning, is that we want to make sure that we take advantage of everything the game has to offer, right? So obviously the world is pretty vast. You can't access every part of the world, but if there's opportunities in the future to use that space to do something cool, we will probably not just opening it up just for the sake of opening it up. But if we see a good value in terms of gameplay mechanics and content that we can bring through that world, I think, of course, we'll look into it, right? There's also a question in the chat. I'm not sure if Sam, you're aware of it, because I haven't heard about that. It seems like a bug. So I'm trying to find it. Scrolling too fast, I lost it. So yeah, some people are asking about missing blueprints. Apparently some blueprints that were available in the Smuggler Pass in Season 2 are no longer available in the vendor. I'm not sure if you're aware of that one, Sam.
So the items that are available from season to season do rotate on a regular basis in the black market vendor. So do check back from time to time to see a new stock of equipment and items and blueprints that are available from past seasons as well.
Yeah, so basically the question is, blueprints from Season 1 and Season 2 were deleted from the Carpenter. Blackwood now sells them. We want our blueprints back that were already unlocked. So I'm not sure if that's intentional or if that's a bug. So if you are encountering that issue, please raise it up to us, to the bug reporter, so we can look into it. I haven't read that feedback until today, so I'm a bit caught by surprise, to be honest. But yeah, if you have issues like that, if you feel like something is happening that shouldn't be happening, either share it on Reddit or Discord as a feedback, or raise the bug on the bug reporter so we can investigate and look into it.
Yeah, from what I'm reading on the chat is that players have
already had it.
Now it's gone. So I believe there might be a few fixes here and there for 3.1, but I think the best place to report all of this is still the bug reporter. And if you see an existing issue on the bug reporter already upvoted, the number of upvotes does matter in the order in which we address all of these issues as well.
Yeah, so we'll follow up on this, figure out what happened. This is me taking notes, by the way. Another question on status effect. I think maybe Ernest, you can talk about this one.
Yeah.
So the question is threat effect, which I assume means taunt. It's quite OP right now and makes ship that can easily utilize it way stronger. Are there any plans to balance it?
So yes, we are monitoring the feedback around it. We are also monitoring the data around it. So I think I mentioned before that one of our sources of key sources of feedback is actually data, and we're looking at like precisely how powerful it is and how much do we want to adjust it by. One of the things about status effects is that we want different ship builds to bring different value to the multiplayer combat that we're looking at. And so for tanks, the status effect is actually for taunt, holding down aggro and reducing damage around the targets that are taunted. We will take a look. When we started off with a 50% value, we thought that it was significant and strong enough to make tanks different. But right now it seems like the sentiment is shifting towards it's too strong, it's too powerful, especially for PvP combat. So we're going to take a look at it and we're going to make some adjustments once the designers come back with some proposals as well.
Cool. So yeah, balancing is an ongoing topic, right?
Yeah, it's a bit tricky to balance between PvP and PvE. And I think right now the challenge is revolving around PvP.
So since you mentioned PvP for the second time now, I feel like it's a good opportunity for me to ask a big question. There was quite a few people who were disappointed that our PvP mode that was announced back in July didn't make it in Season 3. We said we'll communicate more about our decision to postpone it when we're ready. I know we can't reveal too much yet, but does either of you want to talk a little bit about why we decided to take more time and what's happening and like how do we feel about the PvP mode basically?
We had our insiders program run a test with the PvP mode, and we felt like, you know, there were a couple of things more that we wanted to put in line with those feedback. I can't go into too much detail because a couple of these things are still work in progress and they might change along the way. But the assurance that we want to give is that we want to make sure that PvP and PvE have some correlation. Meaning to say that what you do in the Indian Ocean, you can bring it back to the PvP game mode that we're building. Yeah. So some of these things will take a little bit more time. A couple of things like tracking data, a couple more things like balance. These are all things that we had to take a little bit more time to really make sure we solidify so that the PvP experience is about fairness. It's about builds that make sense that in the scheme of the game. We don't want to land up in a situation where in a PvP mode, every single player lands up playing the same ship. And there's no strategy, there's no meaning to the selections that you've made. And hence we are taking a little bit more time to examine what needs to be done, to polish up some edges in terms of the experience as well.
Yeah, so I'm personally quite confident that the feedback we got from insiders, there's a lot of cool things that we can do with it. So yeah, an easy answer is like we want to make sure the PvP mode is as good as it can be, and the feedback we receive from insiders I think is going to help us make it as good as it can be. So we'll release it when it's ready, essentially. We are running out of time already and there's so many questions we haven't answered. I'm sorry if you have asked questions and we haven't had time to answer it. Like I said, there'll be another stream coming up in maybe 4 to 5 weeks. So we'll try to collect more questions and go over them as well. There were questions about... I wanted to answer. Yes, about mouse and keyboard. So I think, Sam, you can probably answer that one. For context, we did some relatively significant changes on mouse and keyboard with Season 3. Some people were a bit upset that they were used to like using the wheel and now they have to use a hotbar. And they asked if we could basically revert the changes back. I know we're not completely reverting it, but I know we're doing some changes to address that feedback. Sam, can you tell us more about that?
So there was community feedback that, well, let me switch the mouse and keyboard. That when you use a item from the second wheel, the quick action bar or the quick action wheel at the bottom switches to that wheel. This wasn't intended, so it's now been fixed in 3.2. So if you say, if you were to use item or emote in Wheel 2, the quick action bar on the bottom left still stays as the first wheel. So
Yes.
only when you intentionally change it through that, then it will actually change the quick action wheel. So again, this wasn't intended, but it has now been fixed because I think there's a lot of players that thought that maybe this was potentially intentional, and we just wanted to assure players that this was just a bug.
And I think that affected people who played with the gamepad as well, right?
Yes, correct. So that issue was also occurring with the gamepad, but now it's been fixed.
So hopefully that, yeah, I know some people were quite upset about this. Hopefully that solves that problem.
It may be a bit too early, but we have also considered some of the other feedback that players were sharing about mouse and keyboard improvements, and we are still making slight tweaks and improvements to those. So I think we'll share more when we have them.
Cool. Trying to pick maybe a couple last questions. Oh yeah, there was a big topic that maybe we can address that happened during the weekend. So last weekend we noticed a lot of reports coming from our players, either on Discord or Reddit, or bug reported that people were encountering quite severe server issues.
Yep.
I know we've done some improvements to address it. I know we've identified the core of the issue. And this time I don't know who wants to talk about this.
I'll take this. So for server rubber banding is what we call it. There were a few times that this happened. Thankfully, what we have been able to do is identify the root of the issue actually this morning. So we'll be introducing a fix which would address this. So this will be a hot fix following season 3.1, and this is currently the #1 priority on the project right now.
Yeah, so hopefully it's happening less already, but if you're still experiencing it, please let us know. We are still monitoring this very closely to try to fix it for good. I think that's pretty much, like, I know there's a lot more, but there are quite deep questions that will probably take a lot of time to answer. There's one question from the chat that I want to answer. Some players basically shared feedback that if you've played Season 1, you played Season 2, you played Season 3, sometimes it can feel a little bit like we are adding new content, we are adding new features, new mechanics. But in terms of, like, the theme of the season is essentially a new antagonist, new color, new team essentially, but more the same. Are we planning to change our formula moving forward in the way we bring new content and the type of content we bring and the way we present it? So I know we can't reveal too much. Once again, it's more like for year 2 plans. But do we know if we are planning to change the formula a little bit?
Ooh.
I
Big
know I have a
spicy question.
I know.
I know.
Like, as I say the question, I'm like, what am I asking?
Ooh.
I know it's difficult. So if I need to jump in, I'll jump in and I'll help you.
We all signed NDAs on this project, and
It's a test, Ernest. It's a test.
and we're not supposed to reveal much more than we can see. But there is a year 2 plan. There is a year 3 plan. And we are actually examining how we can change up that formula as well. Year 1 is about Rise of the Kingpins. I wonder what year 2 could be. Big mystery.
I think a lot of the things that we shared on the stream that we said, oh, we can't really share yet, even though we roughly know what it is. It's more for us to be a bit cautious in what we also promise, because I think one of the things that we don't want to do, especially for our player base, is to overpromise and not deliver on them. So the best way in which we can deliver on what the community wants is actually have it in the game and share it in the patch notes. So that's an absolute win for communication with players.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think for year 2 and what lies beyond season 4, we are not yet ready to share, and in due time we will, once we have those details and things are more firmed up.
Yeah, I think for me the important part of like, so the reason I ask this question is not necessarily to trick you into saying things you shouldn't be saying, obviously.
Oh, it definitely felt like a trick, right?
That's
Yeah.
definitely not what I'm trying to do. No, what I want to do is, by asking the question, is first of all to make sure that the community knows that we are aware of these key topics, that we are spending a lot of time and effort reading feedback on Discord, on Reddit, talking to insiders, reading questions from the chat today, and it's more about acknowledging that feedback and letting the community know that we are looking into it and doing changes to make sure that that feedback is addressed in the best way possible. So for me, I feel like we're very much at a stage where we launched the game more than 6 months ago now. We spent the first 6 months really like listening to community feedback, addressing all the high-level issues that we could fix and improve the quality of the game overall. And at the same time, looking at, okay, what are the big things that the community want us to address on a more long term? And all these things are going to happen basically with Season 4 a little bit, and more so with Year 2 and going forward. So that's why we can't really share much, because there are big things, the big topics, the big things that we want to improve on and add to the game in the future. But we are very much listening to what people want. The most obvious things, obviously, we talk about almost every stream with large ships, map expansions, all these things. We know people want them, but we also know that we need to improve, the formula of each season. What is the objective of? What is my objective as a player, as a kingpin in the game for each season, but also throughout the whole year? And how do I progress with the game, and how does the game evolve and help me progress? So, big topics, and that's why we can't really go into details. But we are aware of all this feedback, and we are actively looking into it. And I keep kicking my microphone in my face, but that should be okay.
Actually, again, we always say that we are on Reddit, we are on Discord, and we are on X and various social media platforms. Sam, I don't know about you, but you know, when we are on when I'm like Facebook or something like that, okay, pretty boomer social media to use these days, but you know, you click on the comments and you see what people say, and some of these things, they make us excited, some of these things, they make us grieve. Some of these things, you know, we lose sleep at night over it, and I assure you it's not because we are trying to top off manufacturers, it's because we are trying to make sure that, you know, all the things that you guys say, all the feedback that you guys share, these are the things that we want to address, these are the things that we want to also build in a live game like ours. And so always engage us on our social media. If you think we're not on social media, yeah, we are there listening to all the things you guys have to say.
For me, I have like notifications on my phone for like the Skull and Bones subreddit. So whenever there's like a new hot post, I open it up and read it. And sometimes I see posts that kind of say, I like this is like a super long essay with like great constructive feedback, and I read through all of it, and somewhere in the middle it says, or like towards the end it says, I'm not sure whether devs will see it or anything, but I hope this will be useful. And it definitely comes in useful. I think that not just me, but a lot of the devs on the floor are also reading all these posts and looking at how we can improve things. And also with the release of Season 3 on Steam, we are also looking at the Steam reviews and comments. So a lot of sources of feedback, and Alexis here is always constantly helping us to sieve through all of them and to come up with great insights. So do continue to share your feedback, and guarantee you that at least a few devs will see every post that's out there, and like even on the Skull and Bones Discord general SNB chat channel as well.
Absolutely. We are way over time. The Twitch drops have been deactivated, so I expect everybody's going to leave in a minute now. We don't really have much time for more questions. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot more questions. I'd like to talk about Steam release. I'd like to talk about other stuff, but unfortunately we don't have time. There's one more topic I think I saw come back a couple of times. How do we plan to address pieces of 8 stashing on next season? So I don't think we have an answer for this. I'm just going to say that this is a topic that we've been raising already a couple of times instantly, and this is a good example of a topic that needs us to kind of plan for the long term. How do we want to improve the Helm Empire and the end game on the long term? So we're aware that some people have found a way to stash piece of 8 to reward chest. We don't really have an issue with it because essentially it's people who spend a lot of time in the game to accumulate this these rewards essentially, right? But essentially it does highlight the fact that we need to figure out how we want to improve on the Helm Empire in general in the future. So we are looking into it, and hopefully in the future we'll have a solution for that. With this, I think we need to call it a day. I'm pretty sure both of you have to go to meetings and have a lot of work to do. Unless you want to do this all day, I'm happy to do it all day. No, but more seriously, thank you very much for coming again on the deck. If you have last words you want to share with the community, go ahead. Now's your time.
Ooh. We're really appreciative of the community that has been with us. We're drawing towards the end of year 1. We're in season 3 now, right? And we're really excited for what's coming ahead in year 2, season X. So we'll see you guys when there's more information to share.
I think for me, personally, I'm also very excited about what's coming up in beyond season 4. A lot of the dev work now is focused on what we can deliver beyond that, beyond season 4 itself. So it's always very exciting to see big things coming together. So continue providing your feedback. It's something that we look very closely to. Send your bug reports to Bug Reporter, and just keep telling us what you enjoy or what you don't enjoy in the game. And we'll continue to work with players to make the gameplay experience better by bringing quality of live updates, such as in these mid-season updates as well. It's also very nice to see the community respond positively to a lot of the changes that we are bringing in as well. I know for myself, when the patch notes are just like launched every single time, like at midnight during our time, I would just go on like Discord, the Skull and Bones Discord, to just read all the comments and kind of get a feel of how people are reacting. So yeah, like somebody said on the chat, say hi to me and Ernest on those social media platforms as well. We'll probably spot all of those as well, and keep your feedback coming, and we can't wait to also share with you what we have for the upcoming updates.
All right, thank you very much, Sam. Thanks, Ernest.
Thank you.
With this, this is the end of the deck for 3.1. Reminder, a lot of the things we talked about at the beginning of the stream will be happening next week with our 3.1 update. Patch note will be released on the website probably on Monday, day before the update. And a lot of the other things we talked about are obviously more like midterm or long-term, coming either with season 4 or year 2. There's a lot of things that we can't wait to share more details about, both with season 4 and year 2. And hopefully we'll be able to talk about it a bit more with the next stream or an upcoming dev stream as well. With that, this is it for today. I hope everybody managed to get their Twitch drops. If you haven't managed to get it, we will probably have Twitch drop activity for next stream as well, so you still have a chance. And I probably shouldn't be leaving the stream without at least acknowledging one thing, which is right here on my cup. So thank you again to everybody for joining in, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.